Now, the topics for today, we have two major topics and a few different subtopics of each one. The two major topics are parent and player registration and coach and program staff registration. The first subtopic of the parents and players portion is going to be how to register your child, navigating your dashboard and utilizing your team pages. And then for coaches, how to register yourself in the team, inviting and copying players, roster management and submission, and using your team page. Throughout this webinar, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the question box. At the end of the webinar, we're going to get to those questions. If we don't get to your question, we will email you out the answer to your question, so don't worry about that. But yeah, feel free to ask questions. Try and keep it to the topic of these webinars, but if not, that's totally fine as well. We're happy to answer them. So let's hop right into this. I'm on my test site right now. I'm going to first assume that I'm registering my child. So I'm logged in as a parent right now. You can see in the upper right that it says I'm logged in. I have a dashboard button. I can log out, I can send feedback, etc. But right now I'm on the program registration page. Just take a step back for a second. The importance of this webinar is a lot of your parents and a lot of your coaches are going to be registering through the platform, and they're going to have questions at some point. So it's important for you guys to know what they're seeing, be able to help them with their questions, and just overall maybe see what your customers are doing when they're registering. So it could be helpful for that purpose too. So just wanted to hop right into this by doing a test registration for this summer basketball league. So I see the price, I see some information about the season. Let's start registration by clicking register. Now I'll see two different things as well as a sidebar on the left telling me my progress throughout registration. So first is going to be my child. The second is going to be myself as a staff member. Like I said, we're registering ourselves. We're registering our children right now at this step. So we're going to choose my child, which will trigger two different things to happen. A, if you don't have children yet in the family account, it's going to trigger you to create that child profile. But I do in this case. I want to register James, let's say in this case. So let's register James Smith. You're going to get the options here for team player, but on the back end, you could set up different registration types like free agent, team captain, etc. But in this case, only team players are allowed to register. So we're going to click team player. And that brings us to step 3. We're gonna first choose the team we want to join that are set up on the back end. Right now I have Celtics, Lakers, and Nets as my options. I want to choose the Nets. So side note, that's my favorite team. So we're gonna choose the Nets. We're gonna see the Nets require a payment of $40, and you'll also get a discount code box. So if you have a discount code from the organizer, you can use it here. Scroll down a little bit. You can enter a mobile phone number. If you set up text messaging, this is what's going to be used for that. They could enter a phone number, opt into texting. You can text them as well as email them. Now I get to the bottom portion, which is the form field. So these are the custom form fields you set up on the back end. In this case, t-shirt size is the first. I'm going to choose adult medium. And my position, let's say shooting guard. So pretty simple. On step 4 at this point, there could be more information on step 3 if you set it up on the back end, but in this case, it's a pretty simple registration. I'm going to get to the waiver step now. I'm going to accept the waivers by clicking the checkbox, click next, and boom, I get to the payment page. It's kind of the landing page for payment type, processes. I'll see a stored credit card at the bottom. If you have stored credit cards turned on, they could store a credit card and pay with that. I'll also see, though, use a different card if I want to, use a different card from what's stored, and skip and pay later. This is actually triggered by the fact that the payment deadline is not during registration. If the payment deadline was during registration, I would not have this option. But in this case, I'm going to actually skip and pay later. Now I get to the landing page here. There's a few different things to notice here. One is you could either go to your dashboard, add another registration, or go to your family account dashboard. If you wanted to add a second child, for example, you would just click this and it would take you right back through the registration process. It makes it really easy to register 2 kids at once. But in this case, let's go to my family account dashboard. So here I'll see all the children in my family account, the parents. I could add more children or parents as well, and I'll see their registrations. Let's also back out to the dashboard itself. This is like the main home screen when you log in as a parent or a coach. I'm gonna walk you through this real fast. So on the right side, dashboard, like I said, brings you here. My family account we just saw as well, that shows everyone in the family account where you can add or edit them. Account settings. This is a very common page. If someone were to unsubscribe from emails, this is where they go to resubscribe. They could also control what messages are being sent to them here and here. Change password, pretty self-explanatory. They could change their password to log in. Invoices is where they're going to see all the invoices applicable to the family, their family account. So all the kids in their family account, they'll see all the past invoices, the current invoices, they have an unpaid or a my invoices tab, and then also a receipts tab, which is all the past ones. Payment settings. So you could store a credit card here if that setting is turned on the admin side. In this case, I have a stored credit card up top. You'll also have an auto pay slider. If you're on a payment plan, you could choose to be on auto pay, and you could slide that down right in this area if that's available. Profile, that's kind of just basic profile information. Editing your profile, you could edit the information on file for your profile. And my schedule. My schedule is cool because you could see all of the calendar events for all of your children and family account. If you have 3 or 4 children, for example, in a lot of different programs, you can see it all in one place here. It's a good way to see everything in one place. Now let's go back to the dashboard page. So now there's a second portion of this, which is the team page. So if I go down, I'll see all of my children's registration. In this case, I have 2 kids named James, but the one James I just registered, he's on the Nets. So I want to go to the Nets team page. In the role team column here, I can click on the team name, which will take me to that team's team page. And on this team page, you'll see a few different things. It'll open right up to the practice schedule. Will actually be schedule in general, but in this case, a practice schedule for the Nets. I'm going to see a lot of different practices listed, team meetings, etc. And the cool thing here is you can subscribe to the calendar up top, and it'll give you an option to sync this to your Apple Calendar, your Google Calendar, etc. So you'll easily be able to pull up the calendar on your phone. Now, we also have RSVP turned on the back end, which means that, say, I want to RSVP to this December 20th team meeting. I could do that by clicking RSVP, and I could see who else is going. I can see staff attendance, and I could also mark myself as going. So let's go back for a sec. Now, if I want to go to the roster tab now, here's where you're going to see the team roster. So anyone else on your team, and also whatever the admin set up to be shown on this page, it's going to be shown. So in this case, the admin set up for information like birthday and mobile number and address to be shown. And also more information could be shown if you click on their name. In this case, you're going to see the t-shirt size and position of your teammates. Let's go now to the messages tab. So this is going to be kind of like a message board type thing. It's a team messaging board. So if you were to add a topic to it in the bottom right, post a new message. If you send a message here, it's going to go to the entire team. So you want to make sure your customers are aware of that. This is more for team messaging as a whole to keep everyone in the loop. So I could say, practice tonight is my subject. Hey guys, when is practice? If I want to get a quick response from everyone. And then if I send it, everyone will see that on their own messages tab, and they'll also get an email telling them that someone had posted a message on the message board. It may come from the teammate email here, which is generic creative email, but this is the email it's going to come from, and they'll see that someone wrote on the message board. So that more or less concludes this portion of it, how to register as a parent, register your child as a parent. If you guys have any questions, like I said, continue to ask them. I'm seeing a couple questions come in. We'll get to the questions at the end of the webinar, but if we don't get to your question, we'll answer it through email. But like I said, just keep asking questions. We're gonna move on now. So we're actually gonna go back to the same program, but this time I'm gonna register for it as the adult account, as the coach. So it looks very similar. This whole process is gonna be very, very similar as a coach as it is as a parent. I'm gonna click register right here. And then on the step 2 of registration, I'm gonna click myself as a staff member instead. It's like at this page, you could choose 2 different lanes. It's either the child reg flow or the staff member reg flow. I'm gonna choose the staff member this time. So here is gonna be the staff member roles that you had set up on the admin side. So in this case, only coach was set up as an admin role or a staff role, but other staff roles could be set up like team mom or volunteer. You could set a capacity for the amount of each staff role to register for this program or team. In this case, like I said, coach, we're gonna register for the same team as my child. We're gonna go to the nets as well. In this case, I'm told that registering as a coach does not require payment. It could in some cases, you could set things up, but especially in tournaments I've seen where people set it up so the coach is making the payment on behalf of the team. But in this case, I'm just registering as a coach just to be in the system. Again, you get a discount code box on this step, and you'll also get the coach form field. So on the back end, if you want to, you can set up form fields. They could be applicable to coaches or staff members or parents or both. In this case, this coaching experience question is just applicable to the staff members. Let's say I have 3 years of experience. Let's enter that. And I'll get to the waiver as well. Let's accept the waiver real fast. Same thing as the other registration. Now I'll get to my landing page here. There's not going to be payment information, like I said, because this staff role doesn't require payment, but same thing here. I could add another registration if I want to add myself to another team as well. Do that real quickly. But I'll click complete in this case. Now I see on the left side that I'm completed with registration. It's going to ask me, do I want to go to my dashboard, add another registration, like I said, or go to the family account dashboard. The difference here is I also get this invite players button. We'll get to that in a second, but because I'm a coach and the admin enabled the ability for coaches in this case to invite players, I'm going to be able to do that on this page too. And by the way, this message right here is controlled by the registration confirmation message in the registration options section of your admin side. So let's go back to the dashboard now. We're going to see what we did before. It's the same thing, except underneath my child's registration, I'm going to see my own registration as a coach. So I am on the nets right now as a coach. There's going to be a team page for that as well. So let's click on nets. It's going to be very similar. First thing you're going to see is a schedule. You could still subscribe to the calendar as a coach. You could still filter and add calendar events. The one difference here is because of the admin setting this up, I'm able to actually edit calendar events. So there's an edit button next to each one, which means the staff member was given permission to edit either one particular event or edit all events in a sequence, and they're able to do that in this case. They could also add calendar events by clicking add. And on the right side, you'll see a bar to, enter the event name, type, the location, and you could set up an event similar to how you would on the back end. I would say this is good for practice schedules. If you have a lot of different teams and coaches to, oversee, if you want to put that in their hands where they can create the practice schedule, you can give them the ability to do this, and it's a good way for them to quickly add that practice schedule without going through you as the admin. Now, there's also this check-in feature. So if I click check-in next to any of these, I'm able to check in anyone that showed up to an event. So it's a good way to keep track if you have a meeting or something that you want to track attendance for, or you want to see who's attending practice all year. You can check in your players and you'll have a report of that going forward, and you'll be able to see who's attending practice, who's not, or who's attending meetings, etc. Now, similar to the other one, if I click on roster, I'll see the roster again. The one difference here is that the admin could have set up for team members to be able to see certain things, but then coaches to see other things. So what you could do here is click on the player again. You'll see more information about them. You could even choose to call, text, or email. This isn't directly through LeagueApps. This isn't like a direct LeagueApps function, but if I were to click email, for example, it's going to open up whatever like email system is attached to my account or attached to my computer. Like if you have iMessage, for example, on your computer, if you click text, it'll trigger that to open. Same thing with email. So it's not particularly through LeagueApps, but it's a nice shortcut in order to do things like that on a one-by-one basis. The other key difference here is at the top, you're going to see this drop down. The first thing you could do is invite players. So let's click on that. And in this case, you can invite multiple players at once. You just want to make sure to separate their emails with commas. But in this box up top, you can enter an email and send an invite out to that player or that player. And then you could also send a custom message. So if you want to tell them more about the event or the team they're joining, you can do that here. You could also on this page track pending player invites. If you have invites out in the past, you could see what's going on with them, if they've been accepted, etc. And then inviting staff. The admin could also give you the ability to invite other staff members. Let's say you have an assistant coach who wants to join late. It tells you he wants to join as a coach. You could do that here. And then messages. Same thing. You could post a topic here. You could delete topics. This is a way to message the entire team at once. So if you want to get in touch with everyone and tell them practice has been changed, this could be a good way to do it because it goes to everyone on the team. Let's go back to the roster one more second. So the roster has been submitted, but there's also a feature we have, especially for tournaments, that allows you to enable roster submission or put a deadline for roster submission. So at the top of your screen, if that's the case, they'll see an indication that they could submit the roster, lock the roster at that point, etc. But that really depends on what is going on the admin side. And on this page also, you'll see the price of the team, you'll see the amount paid and the amount invoiced. It gives you a nice overall view of the team actions.